Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a full day wear test review on the brand new La Mer Cushion Foundation. I think the full name is the Luminous Lifting Cushion Foundation with SPF 20. So I have it in the shade Neutral Ivory number 12. I'm going to go ahead and apply it on camera, show you some different application tools. I'm going to use a brush. I'll probably use a sponge on the other side, and we'll do like a full day wear test. And this is not a first impressions because I have used this already. So I'm going to be kind of sprinkling in some of my thoughts, but I will definitely give you a full review at the end of the video. So if you're interested in hearing more about this brand new La Mer Cushion Foundation, then just keep on watching. So we here in Vegas are all of a sudden going through some really strange cold snap. So that explains a little bit of this lumberjack look. But I needed something like soft and cozy this morning, so I thought I would throw this on. I think it's also very festive. I feel like red buffalo plaid always reminds me of the holidays. But anyway, no one wants to hear about my clothing choices today. We are here for the La Mer Cushion Foundation. I also, if you guys watched my video on Monday where I did a haul, I also talked about the new limited edition La Mer Illuminating Cream that they've released for the holiday season. So I think what I'll do is put this down on half of my face. I just really want to see if there is a visible difference to my skin if I wear it underneath foundation. So we'll be playing around with this as well. This is $120. It is the same price as their soft fluid foundation that comes in a bottle. You get one cushion inside this compact, and you also get an extra cushion inside the box underneath. So you get a backup right off the bat, which is pretty cool. So they've launched this cushion foundation here, at least in the States, with 12 shades, and it goes from a pink porcelain all the way up to a warm honey. And most of the shades are categorized either as warm or cool. There's only 2 neutral shades. I purchased one of them, which is Neutral Ivory. And then the deepest shade, number 52, Warm Honey, is neutral as well. I tried because I think this shade for me it's actually a very good match for my neck area, but because my face, you can probably see, my face is naturally so much darker than my neck, I usually like to do something a little bit warmer, a little bit deeper than my neck, only because then I feel like it looks natural. I know that goes against all the rules. Everyone wants you to match your foundation to your neck, but I like it a little bit warmer. So again, I have 12 Neutral Ivory, and then the shade above is 13 Warm Ivory, and it's for very light skin with warm undertone. I tried that and it was too yellow for my skin tone. So the warm tones in this line definitely have like a yellow base. The cool tones in this line definitely have a pink base to them. So this does have an SPF 20. It also has the La Mer Miracle Broth in there, so it is very nourishing to the skin. All right, so how to use. It says to press lightly onto cushion and use sponge applicator to apply. Sweep over skin for light coverage, pat evenly onto skin for fuller coverage. So when I was in store, the sales associate used the sponge and applied it to my skin, and I felt like the coverage was almost a little bit too heavy. I felt like the coverage was even a little bit more than the soft fluid foundation, which is to me like a rock solid medium, can be a medium to full if you like layer it on. So I went home and I actually used a brush to apply it, and I liked that coverage a little bit more, but I do want to show you guys kind of the difference. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to apply this illuminating cream to half of my face. And if you guys didn't watch my haul video from Monday, the illuminating cream is something La Mer released for the holidays. It's limited edition, and it's just a very light cream that has like a little bit of luminescence, a little bit of like a pearlescent sheen, and it has a slight kind of like pinky tinge to it. So I figured let's go ahead and try it today along with this foundation. And I'm just squeezing a bit out onto my finger here, and I'm just going to apply straight to my face. And again, I'm just sticking to this side of my face. And in my haul video, that was my first time kind of feeling the texture of this, and it felt very kind of light. You know, it didn't feel very moisturizing on my arm. That's where I swatched it. And I was kind of hoping to emulate the Victoria Beckham Estee Lauder Morning Aura Illuminating Cream. It's definitely lighter than that. So the first ingredient is water, and then the next ingredient is dimethicone. So there it is on my bare skin, and that's without. I do have moisturizer on my skin though, so you probably see a little bit of glow here. I have to say, up close, I definitely see the effect of that illuminating cream, but I think from far away, I'm not sure if it's something that would be noticeable. So anyway, Let's go ahead and use the cushion foundation. On this side where I have the illuminating cream, I'm gonna go ahead and use a brush. I found that to be a lighter application. So we'll go ahead and do that and see if we can actually see the illuminating cream come through. And then on the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and use a sponge. And I just really hate these flat sponges. They're just annoying for me to use. I feel like I get it all over my fingers. Like for some reason, it just ends up getting really messy for me. So I'm gonna just wet my Sonia Kashuk sponge and use that for this side of my face. So I've got my Sonia G Base 1 brush here. I'm just gonna dip right into the cushion and start applying it with just some sweeping motions here. And this shade range in the cushion foundation is different from the soft fluid foundation. There are less shades to start, and also they're not named like exactly in line with the soft fluid foundation. So this is Neutral Ivory number 12, and this is very similar to the number 12 in the soft fluid line. I usually wear 22, which is just neutral, but that was definitely a shade that was not represented in this line. So I just went with the lighter neutral shade, and I think this works out actually pretty nicely. You can see how it's like a perfect match for my neck here. So here it is, applied just one layer with a brush on this side of my face, again over the illuminating cream. And this is a great amount of coverage for me. I think this is like definitely medium leaning, light medium kind of coverage. I see a few of my imperfections. I like this one right here. I like went a little hog wild to pick out an eyebrow hair, which is still in there. But anyway, I gave myself a little bit of a scab there, and you can kind of see it, but it's definitely dulled down a bit. And you can still see some of the imperfections here on my cheek. I have that redness along my jawline. I have a few like sunspot, like hyperpigmentation that again is like dampened, but you can still see them, and you can still see some of the discoloration here around my nose. So this is a coverage that I'm very comfortable with. I think it looks very natural, but you know, things are just sort of evened out a little bit. You can actually see the coverage here. You can see how much lighter this side of my forehead looks compared to this side. So just to read you the description of this foundation off of the site, it says, introducing iconic skincare plus radiant coverage all in one compact with healing hydration from Miracle Broth, which is the La Mer skincare ingredient, and color capsule technology gives skin a lift of luminosity for a fresh, flawless look and a plumper, firmer feel. Includes a refill and additional sponge applicator. So when I first used this, my first question was like, well, how is this different from the soft fluid foundation? I find the coverage to be similar. Like the soft fluid foundation, I feel like immediately just kind of goes on as a medium, and it just works perfectly with like one layer and you're good to go. This definitely is a little bit more like buildable. You can definitely make it more sheer like I have with the brush, and then you can also like either build it up, or you can just go in a little bit heavier with like a sponge application. So I feel like the coverage of this is a little bit more versatile than the soft fluid foundation, but I find the finish to be fairly similar. Like it has a little bit of radiance, but it's not like I'm glowing, I don't look oily. I just think it looks very, very natural on the skin with just a little bit of dewiness, like a hint of dewiness. Even though I feel like the coverage is very similar, I feel like this feels lighter on the skin. The La Mer liquid foundation feels, I don't want to say heavier, but it almost feels like this is like a lotion and that one's like a cream. So there's a definite sort of like weight difference, I feel like, on the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Sonia Kashuk sponge and apply to the other half of my face. And I'm just going to dip this right in there. I'm hoping I can show you how full of a coverage we can get by just pressing with a sponge onto the skin. All right, so there is that side applied with a sponge. I feel like it looks a little bit more radiant right now because of the dampness in the sponge, but that will go away pretty soon. And I do feel like the coverage is just a little bit more. I feel like under my eyes, it looks a little bit more perfected. The discoloration and hyperpigmentation spots that I have along my cheek and the redness I have along my jawline is dampened even further than this side. And on my forehead, I feel like this side looks a little bit paler, like less of my natural forehead skin is kind of shining through underneath. And just a quick word on the illuminating cream. I feel like I see just a hint of it peeking through along my cheeks here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back to show you what it looks like with everything else. All right, so I just finished putting on the rest of my makeup. I'm actually filming another video for this eyeshadow look. I am trying to pre-film because I'm actually gonna be out of town next week. So I don't usually put on this much makeup when I'm doing like a foundation or concealer full day wear test or powder, because I really wanna kind of see how the product works all on its own. So anyway, I've got a lot of eyeshadow on, and I may even have a little bit of fallout, but we're gonna ignore that. We're just gonna move forward with the cushion test. All right, so let's pan down from my forehead to my chin, just give you some close-ups here so you can see what this foundation is doing on my skin. I probably have had it on for about an hour now, and I almost forgot to tell you when we started. It's about 9:30 now, so we started at about 8:30 this morning. And so far, I really like this foundation. I feel like it's very comfortable on the skin. But let me sign off for now, and I will be back around lunchtime to give you a 4-hour check-in. I'll see you then. Hey guys, it is 12:30 in the afternoon, so I've had this makeup on for 4 hours now, so I thought it was a good time for a check-in. So I was just checking out my face, and it looks like quite a bit of it is sort of peeking through, or I should say, quite a bit of my oils are peeking through the foundation here on the tip of my nose. I think you can probably see how shiny that is. And I did powder my face after I applied the foundation. I just put some of the La Mer sheer press powder on. But let's do some close-ups from the forehead down to my chin. Other than the tip of my nose, I feel like this foundation looks pretty good. And I do feel like quite a bit of radiance is definitely still showing through here. So I don't know that I would actually recommend this for anyone with an oily skin type. I think dry, obviously it's fine. Normal is probably fine. Normal combo kind of depends on how matte of a finish that you like. If you don't mind a little bit of oil peeking through, you probably won't mind this. But so far that would be my assessment for this foundation. So I do think the lighter texture of this versus the soft fluid foundation and also the reparative skin tint, I think is what is allowing kind of my oils to shine through a little bit more than those foundations. The soft fluid foundation from La Mer, the finish of that foundation is amazing. It does not change all day, at least not on me. And again, I have very dry skin. That stays very consistent all day. So I think the foundation looks really good on the rest of my skin. It's not breaking up at all. It's not doing anything weird. It's not settling. It's not breaking up. It's not settling into my lines, not that I can see, not my like laugh lines here. My under eyes look very similar to the way they looked this morning. I did put a little bit of the La Mer concealer down just to kind of brighten up my under eyes a little bit. It's Monday, so my Monday morning I just felt a little ragged. So that's it for this check-in. I will be back in about another 4 hours to give you my final review and thoughts, and I will see you then. Hello, it is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I've had this makeup on now for 8.5 hours. We started at 8:30 this morning, and I just wanted to mention that the oiliest part of my face, which is around my nose, is very shiny right now. I don't even feel like I have any foundation left on the tip of my nose, and I have very dry skin. So the oiliest part of my face is probably like normal skin. I also added powder and everything, so I really didn't think it was going to be this bad, but it is like really oily, really oily on my skin. First time I wore it, my nose definitely was a little bit, it was glowier than the rest of my face, but it was not this bad. So I don't know if it's today, I don't know if it's my skin today, but oil definitely seems to kind of break through this foundation. So I kind of stand by the statement I made earlier, which is I would not recommend this for oily skin. Other than that, because my skin is so dry, it's really just left a nice kind of glowy sheen to my skin, which I really enjoy. And this doesn't even bother me that much. I think as someone with dry skin, and if you have dry skin out there, you probably understand this. It's like any part of my body that looks like oily, I'm like, yes, bring it on. So this doesn't even bother me. This is not a deal breaker for me, but definitely something of note. I think the foundation looks pretty fantastic. Hi, baby. Oh, you found your little burrito. I don't think that it has sunk into any of my lines. It hasn't done anything weird around my texture that I have around my forehead here. I think it looks pretty good. Actually, let's do a close-up now. We'll just pan down from my forehead to my chin. and you can get a nice close look at my oily nose and how it looks really good underneath my eyes and my laugh lines. It doesn't emphasize those. It's not sinking into those lines or anything. And it's looking really nice and flawless, like on my cheek area. And this is definitely the driest part of my skin for sure. So it definitely is very, very nice for dry skin. So that's it for this new La Mer Cushion Foundation review. I really enjoy this foundation. I don't mind, again, this is not a deal breaker for me, but I think some of you may be really bothered by this, or if you have combo oily skin, this may be a real nuisance for you. But for me, it's really not that big of a deal. I like the radiance that it gives the rest of my skin. I do find this to be a little bit more radiant than the Soft Fluid Foundation, and I find the texture of this to be lighter than the Fluid Foundation and also the reparative skin tint. So just to compare it to the La Prairie Cushion Foundation, that one has a much more natural skin-like finish. I didn't find much radiance with that at all, and I found that to be much longer wearing, and that is the foundation that I remember kind of always thinking of when I travel to New York, where it's a little bit more humid, that's the foundation that I think of and that I'll probably reach for. And then next to the Clé de Peau foundation, I found the Clé de Peau foundation, it's hard for me to tell because the shade that I got is a little bit off, but I found that coverage to be a little bit heavier. I actually found that cushion foundation to be a little bit more similar to the La Mer Soft Fluid Foundation. It has like a creamier texture to it, where this one is just a hint lighter than that on the skin. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments section. Subscribe before you leave if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.